One business takes on many challenges. But when they're beyond what one can solve, it'll take more. Each one pitching in to form seamlessly linked solutions. And with a partner to innovate and collaborate, we can create better experiences than we ever could alone, to become more valued than we'd ever be on our own. Because there's nothing greater than working as one to make an impact in people's lives. Redefine our greatness. Globe Business.
We're in driveways, on highways, down expressways every day. And we can see a difference in the way things are going, what people are using their motors for work and play, friends and family, likes and loves, for moving towards hopes and dreams, for moving products, companies, and the economy, for a life of forward progress. People never just need a motor or a car. They need mobility. They need to be empowered to get where they need to be and want to be in the best way, to the people and things that matter dearly. All of these things that people move for, that people move towards, are worth it. That's what makes everything you do, everything we do at AC Motors, worth it. Every single dealership that we set up helps people move better for themselves, their businesses, and their families. Every one of our expansions helps scale so many hopes and dreams. Every added brand of ours helps bring choice and a new kind of energy to every person's ever-evolving life range. We help individuals, businesses, and the world keep moving through a continued kind of care. And in this changing world, we're changing for even better too, going beyond motors, beyond AC Motors, into becoming AC Mobility. Beyond support for what is, providing support for what will be. As the first mover building the infrastructure to empower an electric new energy of mobility so we can move freely, cost efficiently, and responsibly. An electric new energy that will move us all towards a better way of driving and living. With everything that we've done, are doing, and are enabling for the future, this is just the beginning. There's so much to look forward to as we collaborate together so we can all move forward together. And we'll get there by knowing what we move for. Our purpose? We empower you to move forward. Whether you're a private vehicle owner or a commuter, whether you're on the road for personal reasons or for business, every reason for moving matters. And that's why everything we do matters. Everything we do now and tomorrow and in all the days moving forward will help AC Mobility achieve its vision of being the leading mobility provider for all by 2030. So let's move forward with motors for people, businesses, communities, and the world we want to live in, to true mobility that changes everything. AC Mobility, we empower you to move forward.
Here's your gold standard list, tidbits of the best that life can offer. Today, we're heading all the way down to Northern Mindanao, straight to Cagayan de Oro to explore what has been called the Philippines' City of Golden Friendship. Shop at the first Asuncion Supermall in Northern Mindanao. Surrounded by subdivisions and condominiums and is located along Pueblo de Oro Township, this place really has got it all for you. CDO is the perfect place for adrenaline junkies. Hailed as the whitewater rafting capital of the Philippines, the thrilling ride will take you through the Cagayan River, where you can see forests and natural rock formations. Cocina Higala is the place to go for traditional Mindanao cuisine. The restaurant is located in a home-like structure with picture-worthy spots for that hashtag, aesthetic vibes. Cagayan de Oro is considered as the Philippines' second most competitive city, and Pueblo de Oro has created a hub that suits the city's potential. The hub at Bamboo Lane is a commercial center that offers alfresco dining, commercial spaces, and retail spaces that is perfect for any business wanting to make a mark in CDO. Pueblo de Oro's 400-hectare master plan communities is right at the top of the gold standard list of living, with its almost 3 decades of experience in residential, mixed use, and township developments in the country. The location of Pueblo de Oro's Cagayan de Oro Township provides utmost convenience, as it is within a short distance from key city service points, amusement spots, and everything else you need to maximize the perks of living in this dynamic city. The township is a haven for work, business, recreation, and leisurely living, with distinctly appealing residential alcoves and thriving commercial and business centers. With a balance of natural and man-made amenities, these homes create a serene and secure foundation for every family.
One business takes on many challenges. But when they're beyond what one can solve, it'll take more. Each one pitching in to form seamlessly linked solutions. And with a partner to innovate and collaborate, we can create better experiences than we ever could alone, to become more on our own. Because there's nothing greater than working as one to make an impact in people's lives. Redefine our greatness. Globe Business.
We're in driveways, on highways, down expressways every day. And we can see a difference in the way things are going, what people are using their motors for work and play, friends and family, likes and loves, for moving towards hopes and dreams, for moving products, companies, and the economy, for a life of forward progress. People never just need a motor or a car. They need mobility. They need to be empowered to get where they need to be and want to be in the best way, to the people and things that matter dearly. All of these things that people move for, that people move towards, are worth it. That's what makes everything you do, everything we do at AC Motors, worth it. Every single dealership that we set up helps people move better for themselves, their businesses, and their families. Every one of our expansions helps scale so many hopes and dreams. Every added brand of ours helps bring choice and a new kind of energy to every person's ever-evolving life range. We help individuals, businesses, and the world keep moving through a continued kind of care. And in this changing world, we're changing for even better too, going beyond motors, beyond AC Motors, into becoming AC Mobility. Beyond support for what is, providing support for what will be. As the first mover building the infrastructure to empower an electric new energy of mobility so we can move freely, cost efficiently, and responsibly. An electric new energy that will move us all towards a better way of driving and living. With everything that we've done, are doing, and are enabling for the future, this is just the beginning. There's so much to look forward to as we collaborate together so we can all move forward together. And we'll get there by knowing what we move for. Our purpose? We empower you to move forward. Whether you're a private vehicle owner or a commuter, whether you're on the road for personal reasons or for business, every reason for moving matters. And that's why everything we do matters. Everything we do now and tomorrow and in all the days moving forward will help AC Mobility achieve its vision of being the leading mobility provider for all by 2030. So let's move forward with motors for people, businesses, communities, and the world we want to live in, to true mobility that changes everything. AC Mobility, we empower you to move forward.
Here's your gold standard list, tidbits of the best that life can offer. Today, we're heading all the way down to Northern Mindanao, straight to Cagayan de Oro to explore what has been called the Philippines' City of Golden Friendship. Shop at the first Asuncion Supermall in Northern Mindanao. Surrounded by subdivisions and condominiums and is located along Pueblo de Oro Township, this place really has got it all for you. CDO is the perfect place for adrenaline junkies. Hailed as the whitewater rafting capital of the Philippines, the thrilling ride will take you through the Cagayan River, where you can see forests and natural rock formations. Cocina Higala is the place to go for traditional Mindanao cuisine. The restaurant is located in a home-like structure with picture-worthy spots for that hashtag, aesthetic vibes. Cagayan de Oro is considered as the Philippines' second most competitive city, and Pueblo de Oro has created a hub that suits the city's potential. The hub at Bamboo Lane is a commercial center that offers alfresco dining, commercial spaces, and retail spaces that is perfect for any business wanting to make a mark in CDO. Pueblo de Oro's 400-hectare master plan communities is right at the top of the gold standard list of living, with its almost 3 decades of experience in residential, mixed use, and township developments in the country. The location of Pueblo de Oro's Cagayan de Oro Township provides utmost convenience, as it is within a short distance from key city service points, amusement spots, and everything else you need to maximize the perks of living in this dynamic city. The township is a haven for work, business, recreation, and leisurely living, with distinctly appealing residential alcoves and thriving commercial.
But he'll actually be needing to.
Check. Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Maayong hapon. Nag-uwan pero blessing na. So we'll start our program. Before we begin the Livable Cities Local Lab, please note a few important reminders. In case of an emergency, exits are at the back. There's a particular exit recommended for our elderlies and PWDs. The city DRRMO staff will be ready to assist as we head out of this venue just in case. And with that, may I request everyone to please rise for the Philippine National Anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Thank you. Kindly take your seats. Please turn your attention on the screen for some more reminders. Okay, and thank you again for joining the third Urban Connect Local Lab of the Year. To officially kick off today's event, may I invite on stage Mr. Bill Luz, the Chairman of Livable Cities Philippines and of the Rizalino S. Navarro Policy Center for Competitiveness at the Asian Institute of Management. Bill also sits as the Chief Resilience Officer of the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation, or PDRF, the country's first major private sector coordinator for disaster risk reduction and management. Over to you, Sir Bill.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. I hope everyone can hear me. We're having to compete with the sound of the rain and an event right outside. So we're going to do the best we can. But thank you and good afternoon, everybody. Mayong hapon sa inyong lahat. Sa inyong tanan, actually, if I were to be corrected my dialect. I'm delighted to welcome all of you here this afternoon to Cagayan de Oro and also to our online audience on Zoom and Facebook. This afternoon is sort of dedicated to all about shaping the future of our cities. And our special focus will be on Cagayan de Oro. I want to first of all extend my thanks to Mayor Klarex Uy of Cagayan de Oro and to his team for graciously hosting this event here in CDO City Hall compound. Their support has been invaluable as we work to create sustainable, resilient, and livable cities. I'd like to thank all of you also for joining us at this third Urban Connect and Local Lab. Our partnership with USAID Philippines is a significant step towards developing competitive, future-ready cities like Cagayan de Oro, which ranked first in the resiliency pillar at the 2024 City Municipalities Competitiveness Index, or CMCI. I might add that, though I don't see him here anymore, but earlier we were joined by Nick Habagat, who is the City DRM officer. And Nick spoke at our last lab just 2 weeks ago on flood resilience and spoke about the preparations that Cagayan de Oro has done and introduced since Typhoon Sendong way back in 2010 or 11, if memory serves me right. Building future-ready cities is crucial as we face technological challenges, environmental challenges, and evolving socio-economic conditions. By embracing these challenges, we can turn them into opportunities to strengthen our cities. Our goal is to empower Cagayan de Oro and other Philippine cities with the tools needed to build vibrant and inclusive communities. This collective effort requires local governments, private sector partners, civil society, and every citizen to work together. The foundations we lay today will shape the Philippines of tomorrow. I always like to tell people that cities are like the economic engines of their own provinces or regions. And we need, in the Philippines, we need more economic engines to pull the country. And if you look at it, the foundation of global competitiveness of the country lies in the local competitiveness of our cities and municipalities. A future-ready city places its people at the core of every decision. Through innovative urban planning, sustainable initiatives, digital transformation, and people-centered governance, cities like Cagayan de Oro are addressing current and future challenges. Local competitiveness fuels our city's growth and national progress. Each city, including CDO, is vital as an economic engine. A thriving Cagayan de Oro means a stronger nation, where businesses flourish, residents enjoy better quality of life, and the city is prepared for the future. Just this morning, we learned that the number of new investments in Cagayan de Oro from the years 2022 to 2023 grew by about 2.5 times, from roughly 1.5 billion pesos to 4.7 billion pesos from 2022 to 2023. So obviously this is a high growth city, but with high growth you need to plan for the future, because pretty soon you're going to reach the limits of the city, and you have been seeing that already here in the problems that you face. So let us continue to collaborate, innovate, and drive positive change, shaping cities that meet today's needs and are prepared for tomorrow's opportunities and challenges. Thank you once again for your dedication to creating competitive, resilient, and livable future-ready cities. This afternoon, we have assembled a panel of speakers, each of whom will be making a short presentation, and then later on we were going to have everybody come up on stage for the panel discussion, and we're going to be happy to take questions from the floor, and for those of you on Zoom and Facebook, we're going to take questions. Our staff is ready. You can put your questions in the chat box or the comments box, and we will be getting it up here on stage. We have, let me just quickly run through the list and then I'll properly introduce each of them. Representing Mayor Klarex Uy of CDO is going to be Chedilyn Dulguime. I hope I got your name right. The OIC for the CPDO. We're also going to have Myla Carino, Regional Director for NEDA Region 10. Efren Uy, the President of the Misamis Oriental Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Avelin Kahulogan, Vice President for Cagayan de Oro Chamber of Commerce and Industry Foundation, or the group we just simply call Oro Chamber. And Yvonne Palamar Castro, Head of Government Relations for AC Mobility. I'd like to also thank our partners in organizing today's forum, starting, of course, with USAID, been a partner with us through this Urban Connect Local Lab project. We also work with the League of Cities of the Philippines, which, as you know, is the association of city mayors all over the country. We work also in partnership with Globe Business. So this is the division of Globe which handles the business community primarily. And of course, for today, we're working very closely with Cagayan de Oro City Hall, the LGU. For our first speaker, it's my pleasure to invite one of our key partner in this project. She is the Director of the Office of Economic Development and Governance at USAID Philippines. She brings over 25 years of experience in international development with USAID. She's worked all over the world, I would say, when I take a look at this. Bosnia and Herzegovina, Colombia, Central Asia, Pakistan. She was awarded the prestigious Service to America Medal for her leadership in a groundbreaking $1 billion gender-smart economic growth program. So I think we're quite lucky to have her join us in Manila. I believe she's quite new to the Philippines, but so we'd also like to welcome you to the Philippines and welcome you to CDO. Please join me in welcoming Amy Lovejoy from USAID.
Magandang hapon. I know 4 phrases. Magandang umaga, salamat po, paalam, and I think magandang hapon. I hope the next time I meet you, I know about 1,000 more. I have some written remarks that my colleagues have given me. I don't really like written remarks. A moment ago, my colleagues Jay and John were pointing out the obvious. Every Filipino knows how to either sing or play an instrument. And we stood outside and we listened to the most incredible cover of a Billy Joel song. And then they asked me if I knew that the lead singer of Journey was now a Filipino man. And I didn't know the story. And then so we looked at the videos. Don't stop believing. And the guy, the Filipino guy singing, he sings it better than the original guy. It was unbelievable. And in the morning, Bill and I had a number of conversations about this concept of don't stop believing, right? The concept of belief. And I feel like if I was in charge, I wish we could put the Filipinos singing to the huge crowds this don't stop believing as we endeavor, and here's the transition, as we endeavor today to think about what does it mean to believe in a future-ready city, in a future-ready, inclusive city that is also sustainable. I look out and I see a number of new friends. How many of you drive electric vehicles? If you drive an electric vehicle, raise your hand. Okay, so my friend who I met on the airport, she was telling me that the laws are changing here in the Philippines, and in order to be future ready, that the law says 1 in every 20 parking spots has to have the charging station, and that there's a vision of connecting, is it Cagayan de Oro and Davao? And right now you're the only one who will be able to make that drive. So we're going to have to do a lot to get there. And that's why events like this hold so much promise. Because in the room, as you know, we have representatives from government, and I'm very excited to keep learning from my colleagues in the City Council. And we have some very impressive members of the private sector and others who represent academia. And it is true that when you get these groups together, you come up with new ideas and new solutions. And so that's really the hope today. When I came to the Philippines 7 weeks ago, I didn't know what the word cyclone really meant or typhoon. Okay? And I think it was Bill said we had 8 serious storms just in September, and we were reviewing their names. So I'm learning Filipino names by learning the names of the typhoons and the cyclones. So my purpose, my role at USAID, I get to be with my colleagues Jay and John, a catalytic supporter. We're really looking to find great endeavors like this one, great cities with great city leadership. I heard a number of times that Cagayan de Oro is one of the most competitive cities in the Philippines. Is it number 1? It's number 6. So it's the 6th most competitive city in the Philippines, which is pretty impressive. And so I'm very excited to be here with you and to share with you some of my formal remarks. My favorite words in the remarks are sustainable, inclusive, and participatory. And if you remember nothing else from what I shared today, it's that if the growth is not sustainable, we won't survive. None of us will survive. And if it's not inclusive, if we don't include our indigenous friends, our friends that have different faith traditions as us, I haven't counted how many men and women are in the room yet, but I'm afraid it's not as many women as it is men. We'll have to count. But sustainable, inclusive, and future ready. These are really important words. So those are my impromptu remarks. Here's what's been written. You can let me know how they compare. Okay. So it's a privilege to welcome you all to the Urban Connect local lab here in Cagayan de Oro. In the Philippines, the city's development initiative reflects USAID's unwavering commitment to transforming secondary cities into thriving centers of competitiveness and inclusive growth, inclusive of who. What happens if you leave people out? Really important questions. A prime example of this is Cagayan de Oro, a dynamic city that stands as the key regional hub of Northern Mindanao, driving economic activity and innovation across the region. My colleague was telling me the grand plans for the gondola that's going to stop at 5 points across the city. I've lived in other countries where they did use gondolas to transfer people from one point to another point in the city in Almaty, Kazakhstan. It's a great idea, and I don't know the economics of it, but I'm curious to know what it will take to finish that feasibility study and find the investors. USAID, through the Urban Connect project, is delivering customized, it's a good word, customized, sustainable, and future-ready technical assistance to boost local economic development and improve service delivery in the city. Yesterday, we went to the mayor's office in Iligan, am I saying it right? It was packed, okay? And I was thinking about, I said, what are all these people doing here? They were sitting on the stairs, they were waiting in line. The lawyers were processing the complaints, and I could see how burdened the local mayors are with trying to respond to the important needs of citizens around service delivery. If we can make that easier and more efficient, it'll be important for everyone. For decades, USAID has forged a strong relationship with Cagayan de Oro, working closely with the local government and various stakeholders to drive development. Cagayan de Oro is known for its strategic location as a major entry point to Mindanao, making it a natural hub. With its road networks, modern port, proximity to other key cities, it's primed to be a logistics center for Mindanao. Information and communications technology is another area where you have immense potential. There was a young man this morning, is he still here? You see the Chamber of ICT. I don't know if this young man is here. He was clearly going to make a difference for this community. He was clearly motivated, passionate, informed, energized, and it reminded me of how Journey ends up with a Filipino lead singer in his 40s, because there's such talent in the Philippines and the human resources, like this young man this morning. Public-private partnerships are crucial to addressing infrastructure gaps. The Oro Chamber has been instrumental in supporting the city's economic growth. We'll continue to collaborate with the Chamber, the PPP Center, and local government to strengthen partnerships. Sustainable growth is key. As we explore these opportunities, we must prioritize environmental stewardship. We went at lunch to the OTOP shop, One City, One Project, and I got a caramel macchiato. Do you think the straw was plastic? Raise your hand if you think my caramel macchiato at the One City, One Product shop in Cagayan de Oro had a plastic straw. Does anyone think it had a plastic straw? It did not have a plastic straw. Okay. Does anyone know where the Philippines ranks in the world in terms of plastic pollutions in the ocean? The front table, everyone knows. It's the worst, right? You've got incredible human capital. Don't stop believing. Incredible. And yet, you're worst in the world on ocean plastics. And then my friends John and Jay said it's because we're an archipelago, 7,500 islands. There's a lot more water here than most countries have to deal with. And the straw in town was not plastic. And I was so happy to see that as you move towards being a tourism destination that can compete with Vietnam and with Thailand, and people come for scuba diving and they don't want to be in the water with plastics, nor do you. So environmental stewardship is critical. Maybe 10, 20 years from now, the gentleman from Samsung and other places, we will all be driving electric vehicles, taking electric buses to work, riding electric bikes down the streets of Cagayan de Oro in bike lanes that are safe and not taken over by the Grab motorbikes. We have to dream. We have to dream. We have to believe. So we're especially grateful for the leadership of the mayor, who is not here today, but his colleagues are, whose vision inspires us all, the resilience of the business community, as they have persevered through numerous challenges. And I didn't know Bill before today. All of you know Bill. You've known Bill for a long time, and what an inspiration. So I'm especially grateful to meet people like Bill as well, who give so much to their country and the city and all secondary cities like Cagayan de Oro. I look forward to learning from you this afternoon. Salamat po.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy, for the remarks. I have another lesson for you. Now that you find out about typhoons and cyclones, so the names you will notice are alphabetical. Okay? So we just finished with letter H, Helen. So for the month of September, we had Enteng, Ferdy, Hener with a G, and Helen. So that's how we keep count of the typhoon names. And in some years, we go from A to Y. Okay, so that's about 25 typhoons. Another lesson, Amy, is that this is reverse inclusivity, okay? The names, we all know that the names for typhoons used to be all women's names. Terrible idea, huh? We don't name them. Our weather service, Pagasa, was naming them, okay? But since a few years ago, names now change. We have men's names as well. So we're finally getting the recognition we deserve. There are men's and women's names that are used for typhoons for the Philippines. So at least remember that we're letter H. Okay? So next one coming up, we'll go down the line. Okay, so to start with our first presentation today. Speaking on behalf of Mayor Klarex will be Chedilyn Dulguime. And Chedilyn will tell us, especially our Zoom audience, about Cagayan de Oro and the opportunities in Cagayan. So Chedilyn, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sir Bill, Ms. Amy Lovejoy, Mr. Alex Brillantes, Mr. J.D. Quiros, Mr. Celso Enriquez of USAID, of course, Mr. Bill Luz of Livable Cities and the Livable Cities staff, partners from our chamber, MOFC, the ICT Business Council, guests from AC Mobility, Geodata, from our real estate developers, IDC and Pueblo de Oro, Globe Telecom, Samsung Electronics, Ayala Malls, from the NEDA, RD Myla Carino is represented by Jasper Hasildo, and of course from DTI Miss Or, Miss Jessie Abiar, and colleagues from the city government. Good afternoon. It is my distinct honor to represent the Honorable Rolando Klarex Uy for his presentation on future-proofing Cagayan de Oro. This presentation will attempt to answer the question, how do we future-proof the lives of the Cagayanons? Okay. Please allow me to start with the awards and recognitions that we have recently received. This year, as mentioned earlier, also in the session in the morning, that we are the 6th most competitive, highly urbanized city in the country, taking the #1 spot in the resilience pillar and placing within the top 10 in all of the pillars. And we have been in the top 10 since this index was first introduced in 2013. And this is unprecedented for a city in Mindanao outside of the National Capital Region. We also have other awards. We have received the Seal of Good Local Governance for 2023, awarded Beyond Compliant for Gawad Kalasag for 2023. We also received the 2023 Good Financial Housekeeping and the 3-star Green and Safe Health Facility Standard for our hospital. All these plaques and recognition are more than just proofs that we are doing our best, and we have ticked the boxes that have led us to receive these awards. Beyond the recognition, these awards demonstrate that we have given our best to serve the people of Cagayan de Oro. Our ultimate goal, and in pursuance to Ambition natin 2040, the city government aspires for a future where all Cagayanons will enjoy a stable and comfortable lifestyle, secure in the knowledge that we have enough for our daily needs and unexpected expenses, that we can plan and prepare for our own children's futures, that our families live together in a place of our own, and we have freedom to go where we desire, and we are protected and enabled by a clean, efficient, and fair government. This is our future-ready and future-proof Cagayan de Oro, and each Cagayanon is at the core. So how do we reach this future-proof Cagayan de Oro? Our Honorable Mayor has come up and introduced the RISE agenda at the beginning of his term. RISE stands for Regional Leadership, Institutional Development, Safety and Security, and Economic Development. With City Mayor Rolando Uy's RISE agenda, we are called upon to navigate the challenges brought on by our rapid growth, to build a future for our city and our citizens that is sustainable, resilient, and inclusive. The RISE agenda is not just a list of development and institutional imperatives that we have to deliver on, but are also our guiding principles in order to achieve the future worthy of every Cagayanon. So the RISE agenda actually is read or appreciated better backwards. So instead of RISE, we start with letter E, which is economic recovery, focusing on the core of every Cagayanon family. Meaning we start with addressing the economic needs of each family, supporting and enabling each family to be able to afford the future that they deserve. So with that, we have 7 focus areas. I hope you can see that. So we have agriculture and fisheries, manufacturing and industries, service trade and commercial activities. We also have growth in agriculture, fisheries and forestry, promoting trade and generating investments, managing and sustaining the environment, limited natural resources, and land resources. This is a lot of deliverables, but these are all distributed as deliverables from different departments in the local government. So after the economic recovery pillar, we proceed to the next, which is safety, security, and social development. So after the core of the family, we are also addressing each of the external pillars or concerns in order to reach a future-proof Cagayan de Oro. So for safety, security, and social development, the focus areas are universal health care, housing, education and skills development, social protection, food security, disaster resilience, peace and order, and human security. So here we focus on educating and improving the skills of the people, ensuring that our people are fit and healthy, ensuring that there's food security and also peace and order, securing decent houses and safe communities for families, protecting and improving the capacities of vulnerable and marginalized individuals and groups, developing resiliency, maintaining public health, and the whole of community approach to stop drug abuse. Next is the the I pillar, or institutional development and participatory governance. Here we focus on the improvement of the generation of local government revenues, to continue the improvement of the capacities of LGU personnel as support to the delivery of services to the people of Cagayan de Oro, constructive engagement with the people in government processes, for instance, in development planning, program implementation, in monitoring and evaluation. We also focus on the mitigation of environmental hazards and risks that will affect settlements, production, and income sources. Next is the improvement of government efficiency from data-driven management and increase in public-private partnerships. The outermost layer in achieving a future-proof Cagayan de Oro is regional leadership, metropolization, and connectivity. And this is where our relationships with other LGUs, with our stakeholders and partners come in. So we improve on physical connectivity through creation of new urban centers, which our CLUP presented earlier this morning have demonstrated. Improvement on the access to stable and consistent supply of basic utilities, and utilization of technology in all government processes in the delivery of public services. We also focus on the improvement of inter-LGU and institutional collaboration and alliances. Our Metro Cagayan de Oro has already been formally created in our Regional Development Council, and we look forward to its full operationalization. Last is the promotion and integration of innovation, research, and science in all government processes. This is a tall order if you look at all the deliverables. It always is when there is a great number of worthwhile and widely beneficial things to be done. But as it is often said, if we don't do it, who will? If we don't start now, when? So together, let's get cracking, so to speak. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you, Chedilyn, for representing CDO. I like how it's so detailed as you go through the ESIR, rise and reverse, but at least it's very detailed, and I think it's good to see that cities have detailed, at least the start of a detailed plan, and it's tied to Ambition 2040, which is also a good thing. I'm happy to see also that some of the aspirational items in the plan, I think we can hopefully address through a series of partners we have brought with us here to Cagayan de Oro, including Globe, Geodata, AC Mobility, and other companies that we can also bring actually to help provide ideas and hopefully for you to enter into partnerships with to try to make a better Cagayan de Oro. Now, speaking of Ambition 2040, I don't know how many of you are familiar with it, but it started in NEDA back in 2015, and it was a 25-year plan to the year 2040. And the rationale behind such a plan was to get away from the 6-year development plans that we keep changing whenever a new president is elected into office. So I don't know if you noticed this, but in prior years, each 6-year plan is not connected to the next 6-year plan. So we're always starting with a new 6-year plan. And so we're forever planning and not really implementing. And that's a real problem. So Ambition 2040 engaged in research about what Filipinos want. And that was outlined by Chedilyn for Cagayan de Oro, and it's similar for all over the country. So now we have a plan that will run through several administrations and hopefully will be the common thread which runs through each development plan. So speaking of plans and speaking of NEDA, our next speaker is going to be from NEDA. This will be the Regional Director for Region 10, Myla Carino, but because she couldn't be here today, we're going to take it in a recorded message from Myla Carino to tell us all about the regional development plans for Region 10. So let's roll the video.
Allow me to provide you with the prospects, outlook, and directions of Metro Cagayan de Misamis in the years to come. Northern Mindanao, or Region 10, is the third largest region in Mindanao in terms of land area and is already a trillion peso economy at current prices in 2023. Furthermore, Region 10 remains to have the third largest per capita GRDP across regions at 190,000 pesos in 2023. Northern Mindanao's economy moderately grew by 5.3% in 2023, lower than the 2022 growth rate of 7.2%, and likewise falling below the region's target for the year of 6 to 8%. This growth is also slightly lower than the national average. Slower growth in all major industries contributed to the slowdown in the region's economic performance. In particular, manufacturing, which is among the top growth drivers in the region, recorded a slump of negative 1.3%. Among subsectors, the main growth contributors are wholesale and retail trade, repair of motor vehicles and motorcycles, construction and transportation and storage, contributing 1.6 percentage points, 0.8 percentage point, and 0.6 percentage point, respectively. This time, I will present the Sustainable Urban Infrastructure Development for Metro Cagayan de Oro Master Plan, which is a report containing the strategies, policy frameworks, structure plan for the Metro CDO development and infrastructure requirements to support the Metro CDO, which is now called the Metro Cagayan de Misamis or Metro CDM. The Metropolitan Cagayan de Misamis is comprised of 2 cities, namely Cagayan de Oro City and El Salvador, and 11 municipalities. Next slide. Previous slide. 10 of these municipalities, namely Alubihid, Claveria, Kitagum, Initaw, Hasaan, Lagindingan, Libertad, Opol, Tagoloan, Villanueva, are located in the province of Misamis Oriental. And one, namely Manolo Fortich, is in the province of Bukidnon. 6 LGUs adjacent to the Metro CDO or the Metro CDM area were also assessed in terms of their impact on the area and are considered as candidate LGUs to be part of the Metro Cagayan de Misamis in the future. These are the municipalities of Balingasag in Misamis Oriental and the municipalities of Baongon, Libona, Malitbog, Sumilao, and Talakag in Bukidnon. Metro Cagayan de Misamis has a total land area of 227,935 hectares. It has a combined population of 1.32 million as of 2020. The growth area strategy of Metro CDM involves the establishment of growth areas mostly outside of Cagayan de Oro City. By doing this, a more even urban development and spread of economic activity will hopefully be achieved. The major growth areas include the following: the continuing development of the 3,000-hectare Fividec Industrial Estate in Tagoloan, Villanueva, the largest industrial area in the Philippines, and is mainly focused on heavy industry. Then we have the 526-hectare Habini Bay development in Lagindingan, Misamis Oriental. It has its own port along the Iligan, Cagayan de Oro, Butuan Highway Industrial Corridor. Habini Bay features a new town with industrial products, commercial retail centers, and light industry, and there will also be residential products. The proposed 292-hectare University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines, Alubihid S&T Park, a future mixed-use development that will also house the main university campus. Then El Salvador City Growth Area, which is intended to be a tourism area containing mixed-use development, and the expansion areas in Cagayan de Oro consisting of the Uptown Growth Area, University Center in the Central Business District, and various infill development within the city. To complement the strategies on developing new growth areas within Metro CDO or Metro CDM, transit-oriented development will be pursued. TOD develops communities by establishing mixed-use housing that are located about 500 meters away from train stations or public transport. TODs feature compact communities designed within walkable neighborhood concepts. TODs are particularly beneficial to low-income groups as they enable access to jobs within the community or nearby communities, provide affordable housing, reduce transport costs, and provide a healthy lifestyle due to walkable neighborhoods. TODs also promote reduction of pollution as these promote walking. Anchored on the priorities and strategies espoused in the master plan, pre-feasibility studies were prepared for 5 priority projects out of the long list of infrastructure projects identified for the Metro Cagayan de Misamis areas. These are the following: Metro Cagayan de Misamis Railway Project from Laguindingan to Cagayan de Oro to Villanueva. Then we have the Metro CDM Transit-Oriented Development Housing Project. We have the Waste to Energy Project, the cable car system with related tourism products or tourism development project, and water supply improvement projects. Over the next 5 years, metropolitanization is expected to be driven by the following factors. 1, the implementation of the infrastructure flagship projects. As of February 29, the NEDA board approved an updated list of infrastructure flagship projects. There are 9 IFPs located in the Metro Cagayan de Misamis area. Of the 9, the structural component of the FRIMP CDOR is already completed. Next, the completion of priority catalytic projects. Shown in this slide are 3 ongoing catalytic projects with their respective project status. This one, Cagayan de Oro Coastal Road, the urban drainage project for Cagayan de Oro, and the Misamis Oriental West Diversion Road. Next, the upgrading of the Laguindingan Airport. As of September 13, the Laguindingan Airport Development Project, as pronounced by the DOTR Secretary, will be awarded to PPP, contractor Aboitiz Infra Capital. Earlier on February 4, 2024, the DOTR Secretary led the groundbreaking ceremony for the projects. Next, the approval of other priority catalytic projects. So which are the following: Iconic Bridge 2, Makasandig Makanhan Manresa Bridge and Access Road; Iconic Bridge 3, Consolacion Kauswagan Bridge and Access Road; Iconic Bridge 4, Gamenta Kulambugan Bridge and Access Road; and then Iconic Bridge 1 along Cagayan de Oro Coastal Road, Puerto Gusa section. Here is the status of the other proposed Iconic Bridges program. Final FS report was submitted to DPWH and is waiting approval of the certificate of completion of the study. The Transit-Oriented Development Housing Project for Metro Cagayan de Misamis is also up for approval. The establishment of the DILG-10 Local Governance Regional Resource and Training Center is already included in the National Expenditure Program of the agency for fiscal year 2025. Next is the status of other projects currently under preparation. The Metro Food and Agri-Production Clusters feasibility study will be conducted by DA10 in partnership with the Northern Bukidnon State College and other SUCs, and this is for completion in 2024. The Metro Cagayan de Oro Light Rail and Mass Transit System will undergo a pre-investment study to determine an appropriate transport mode for Metro Cagayan de Misamis. We also propose the construction of the Laguindingan flyover for project preparation. Then we also proposed for project preparation the Marcos Bridge Bulwa Skyway, the construction of the Gusa flyover, and construction of the Kauswagan flyover. For the regional specialty hospitals that include the Kidney Transplant Institute and Heart Center, the RDC-10 Technical Secretariat requested the Department of Health, Center for Health Development in Northern Mindanao to consider formulating an implementation plan for fiscal year 2025. And for the Northern Mindanao Regional Government Center, the RDC-10 is currently engaging with Ayala Land Corporation and the Department of Transportation to possibly locate the Northern Mindanao Regional Government Center in the airport area. For the Mindanao Container Terminal Phase 2 project, the FIVIDEC Industrial Authority is currently exploring fund sources to fund the conduct of the feasibility study for the Phase 2 project. The USTP Science and Technology Park Development Program in Northern Mindanao. For this project, USTP is firming up proposals for projects to be implemented in the SNT Park. And for the water supply improvement project for Metro Cagayan de Misamis, a project is either going to be funded through PPP or joint venture. The Metro Cagayan de Oro aerial mass transport system is recommended by the DOTR to be implemented by the private sector. Now, here are recent and key updates relevant to Metro Cagayan de Misamis. In terms of policy support, Representative Rufus B. Rodriguez of the 2nd District of Cagayan de Oro City authored House Bill number 432, an act creating the Metro Cagayan de Misamis Development Authority, defining its powers and functions, providing funding therefore and for other purposes in the 18th Congress. He has refiled the bill in the 19th Congress in July 2022, now House Bill 1843 with the same title. The MCMDA will perform planning, monitoring, and coordinative functions, and in the process exercise regulatory and supervisory authority over the delivery of metro-wide services within Metro Cagayan de Misamis, without diminution of the autonomy of the LGUs concerning purely local matters, as provided for in the said bill. Another version of the bill was introduced by Representatives Christian Onabia of the 1st District of Misamis Oriental, Bambi Imano of the 2nd District of Misamis Oriental, and Lord and Suwan of the 1st District of Cagayan de Oro City, and was filed as House Bill 9040 on September 2023. On March 13, 2024, the Committee of Government Enterprises and Privatization approved the Cagayan de Misamis Development Authority Bill, combining the provisions of House Bills 1843 and 9040 on March 12, 2024. In sum, let me emphasize the NEDA's tagline: we place the Filipino people at the center of our plans. The future of our region hinges on creating vibrant, healthy communities. The framework in the NMRDP outlines a clear vision, fostering healthy living, thriving in clean environments, and offering connected communities with economic opportunities. Daghang salamat. Make it happen in Northern Mindanao. Make it happen in Metro Cagayan de Misamis. Once again, maayong hapon ka natong tanan.
Thank you, Myla, for the presentation. What I like about it is that it takes a very large-scale view, a metropolitan view. And while I was expecting a metropolitan view for Cagayan de Oro, I did not realize they were also looking at Bukidnon and Misamis Oriental. So I hope that everyone can join hands and work together to create a large metropolitan area here in Northern Mindanao. Now, all of this would not be possible if the government alone were undertaking the project and the endeavor, the planning and the implementation. That would not be possible relying 100% on the government. So for today's lab, we of course have the private sector present. And I'd like to invite our first representative for the private sector to speak. He is the president of the Misamis Oriental Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce. Let me please welcome Mr. Efren Uy.
Good afternoon to everyone. My presentation this afternoon is about doing business in the city Cagayan de Oro as a business haven. Perspectives from the Filipino-Chinese business community. My name is Efren Uy, the president of Misamis Oriental Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Incorporated, MOFSI in short. Now, my introduction to Cagayan de Oro City. Cagayan de Oro City is a highly urbanized city, often referred to as CDO. It's known as the City of Golden Friendship. With a population of approximately 700,000, comprised of 80 barangays, growing at a rate of 1.58% as of 2020 Census of Population and Housing of the Philippine Statistics Authority. Cagayan de Oro served as a prime development hub of the South. The city has shown consistent economic growth with an average annual growth rate of 6.5% over the past 5 years. The Filipino-Chinese community plays a vital role in this growth, contributing significantly to the local economy through various industries, including retail, manufacturing, and real estate. The business opportunities in Cagayan de Oro. CDO's strategic location makes it an ideal business hub. It is well connected by road, air, and sea, facilitating trade across the region. The city has become a focal point for emerging industries, particularly in information technology. Booming sectors such as services and trade, tourism, and real estate. Cagayan de Oro is becoming one of the favorite destinations for meetings and conventions, making food and tourism-related business a good investment. Moreover, the local government offers various incentives for business startups, such as tax holidays, simplified business registration processes, making it easier for entrepreneurs to establish their ventures. From year 2022 to 23, there has been a 7.93 increase in business registration in the city. 7.3 increase in renewals. The overall increase in business registrations in the city went up to 7.19%. The Filipino-Chinese community has been an integral part of Cagayan de Oro's economic fabric for over a century. Today, they own around 30% of the businesses in the city, ranging from small enterprises to large corporations. Notable success stories include companies like Limkitkay Group, Gaisano Group, Polemedic Plaza Hospital, Konghua School, Jandor Ventures Corporation, Alwana Business Park, and Cocina Higala, to name a few, which have significantly impacted the local economy. However, challenges such as regulatory hurdles and competition from new businesses remain. We are grateful to the LGU, who has been open to continuous dialogues and participatory governance to address these challenges. Community organizations such as Misamis Oriental Filipino Chinese Chamber of Commerce, together with the Oro Chamber, also provide support through networking and mentorship programs, helping new entrepreneurs navigate these challenges. In conclusion, Cagayan de Oro is poised to be a business haven, driven by its strategic advantages and entrepreneurial spirit of its residents. The collaboration between the Filipino-Chinese community and other stakeholders can lead to a sustainable economic growth. With continuing investment in infrastructure and education, CDO's future looks promising. I urge potential investors and entrepreneurs to consider the opportunities here, as the city is ready to embrace new ventures and partnerships for mutual growth. My profound gratitude to this opportunity to share with you the Filipino-Chinese community's entrepreneurial journey. Thank you, and pleasant afternoon to all.
Thank you, Mr. Uy. It's nice to hear and to discover how integral Filipino-Chinese businesses are in the economy of Cagayan de Oro, and I suppose in the economy of both Misamis Occidental and Misamis Oriental, no? And the neighboring provinces. So I think it fits nicely into the Metro CDO story, which NEDA and City are supporting. So thank you very much. Now I'd like to shift gears to the other chamber that's been present here in CDO. Oro Chamber is a very, very well-known chamber. I think one of the best chambers in the country, certainly one of the best run chambers in the PCCI network, and very proactive organization, and has been at the forefront really here for many, many years in the region. Let us please welcome representing the Oro Chamber, Evelyn Kahulogan, Vice President for the Services Sector for Oro Chamber.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at the Livable City's Local Lab and USAID Urban Connect event. Today, I will be discussing how we can enhance public-private sector engagement, focusing on how Cagayan de Oro City can be a center for innovation and transformation. Let us explore the lessons we have learned from our collaboration efforts. To begin, let's take a moment to understand Cagayan de Oro City. Our vision aims to become the strategic development hub of the South through good governance and empowering citizens to thrive in a competitive economy and sustainable environment that respects diversity and culture, working towards a resilient, progressive, and inclusive future. CDO is a dynamic urban center with diverse demographics and economic activities, but we face challenges such as urbanization, infrastructure needs, and environmental concerns. Our goal is to position CDO as a future-ready city, utilizing innovation and collaboration to address these challenges effectively. For our chamber, two of our goals are in focus here, and these are to perform an active role in helping shape the course of local, regional, and national events and share its expertise and make known its position on matters affecting business, economy, and the environment. To foster closer relations, understanding, and collaboration among all sectors of the economy, particularly in the city of Cagayan de Oro. Collaboration between public and private sectors is vital for several reasons. One, resource optimization. By pooling resources, we can reduce duplication of efforts and maximize the impact of our initiatives. For example, public funding can be supplemented by private investment, leading to more comprehensive solutions. Two, innovation and expertise. The private sector often brings innovative technologies and practices that can enhance public service delivery. By working together, we can leverage these innovations to improve city infrastructure, services, and overall quality of life. Three, sustainable development. Collaboration fosters a holistic approach to urban development, ensuring that both economic growth and community welfare are prioritized. Joint initiatives can lead to more sustainable practices that benefit the environment and society as a whole. Four, community engagement. When both sectors collaborate, they can better engage local communities, ensuring the development initiatives are aligned with the needs and aspirations of residents. This leads to more inclusive decision-making processes. Identifying and engaging key stakeholders is essential for effective collaboration. In Cagayan de Oro, our primary stakeholders include local government units. They play a crucial role in policy making, regulation, and service delivery. Their involvement ensures that initiatives align with city regulations and priorities. Private sector enterprises. Businesses can provide investment, expertise, and innovative solutions to urban challenges. Their participation is essential for driving economic growth and job creation. Civil society organizations. These organizations represent the interests of various community groups. They help ensure that the voices of citizens are heard and that social equity is considered in developmental initiatives. Academia and research institutions. These stakeholders can provide data, research, and insights that inform decision-making and policy formulation. Their expertise can enhance the understanding of urban challenges and solutions. Community members. Engaging residents helps to ensure that development efforts are grounded in the actual needs of the community. Feedback from citizens can guide the design and implementation of initiatives. Other government institutions that provide technical and funding support to meet our vision. To foster effective public-private engagement, we have developed a structured framework that includes 1. Clear communication channels. Establishing open lines to communication among stakeholders is critical. Regular meetings, forums, and feedback loops allow for ongoing dialogue and coordination. 2. Shared goals and objectives. Aligning the interests of all stakeholders is essential for successful collaboration. We work to identify common goals that benefit both the public and private sectors, ensuring that everyone is working towards a unified vision. 3. Collaborative planning and implementation. Involvement of all stakeholders in the planning stages of initiatives helps to ensure that diverse perspectives are considered. This collaborative approach leads to more effective implementation and greater ownership of the outcomes. 4. Monitoring and evaluation. Implementing a robust monitoring and evaluation framework allows us to assess the effectiveness of our collaborative efforts. Regular assessments help identify successes, areas for improvement, and inform future initiatives. Then the 6, capacity building. Investing in capacity of both public and private partners fosters stronger collaboration. Training programs, workshops, and knowledge sharing initiatives can enhance skills and understanding among stakeholders. We thank the local government unit of Cagayan de Oro for continuous trust and providing the various platforms of engagement. Now let's discuss some of the lessons we have learned through our work at Oro Chamber. One successful initiative was Oro Best Innovation Program, which showcased how effective collaboration can lead to innovative solutions to MSMEs. Another example is our joint event with LGU for the Cagayan de Oro Investment Forum and the Oro Best Expo at the Shangri-La Hotel and Shangri-La Plaza, demonstrating the positive outcomes of joint efforts. Another example is the Metro CDO Transportation Summit, which highlighted the passing of the CDO Transportation Master Plan. As we look to the future, Cagayan de Oro City is committed to several innovative programs aimed at enhancing our resilience and adaptability. Key initiatives include, first, smart city technologies, implementation of IoT solutions. We are exploring the integration of Internet of Things technologies to improve urban management, such as smart traffic systems, to reduce congestion and improve public safety. Data analytics for urban planning. Utilizing big data analytics to inform decision-making processes, allowing us to better predict urban needs and allocate resources effectively. Second, sustainable infrastructure projects. Green building initiatives, encouraging the development of energy-efficient buildings that minimize environmental impacts and promote sustainability. Resilient transportation networks. Investing in sustainable public transportation options such as electric buses, bike-sharing programs to reduce traffic congestion and promote eco-friendly travel. Third, community engagement platforms, participatory budgeting, implementing platforms that allow citizens to have a say in budget allocation for community projects, ensuring that development initiatives reflect the needs of residents. Digital communication tools, enhancing communication between local government and citizens through apps and online platforms that facilitate feedback and engagement. Fourth, public-private innovation labs, collaboration hubs. With the hope of the passing of the CDO Startup Ordinance soon, we look forward in establishing innovation labs where public and private stakeholders can co-create solutions to urban challenges, fostering a culture of experimentation and rapid prototyping. To successfully implement these strategies, we must take several key considerations into account. One, inclusive participation, ensuring that all community members, especially marginalized groups, have a voice in the planning and implementation processes. This inclusivity fosters social equity and strengthens community ties. Two, alignment of objectives. It is crucial that public and private sector goals align to ensure mutual benefit. Regular dialogues and workshops can help reconcile differing priorities and create a shared vision. Three, sustainability and resilience. Our initiatives must prioritize long-term sustainability and resilience against climate change and other urban challenges. This means considering environmental impacts and future-proofing our infrastructure. Four, capacity building and training. Investing in the skills and knowledge of both government officials and private sector partners is essential. Training programs can enhance understanding of emerging technologies and best practices in urban development. Five, data-driven decision-making. Utilizing data analytics to inform strategies and measure outcomes will help us track progress and make informed adjustments. This approach ensures transparency and accountability in our initiatives. In conclusion, I invite all stakeholders here today in this hall to actively participate in this transformative journey. Let us engage in dialogue, share your insights and ideas to shape the future strategies for Cagayan de Oro. Let us collaborate on initiatives, join hands in the implementation of innovative programs that will benefit our city and its residents. Let us commit to action. Together, let's drive growth and development in our region, Cagayan de Oro, a model for future-ready cities. Together, we can create a resilient, thriving urban environment that serves as a beacon of innovation and transformation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Evelyn. And I know the secret behind Oro Chamber's success. One, I take a look at your collaboration network, huge. Second, I see that such great emphasis on public-private partnerships. Third, it takes on a very forward-looking, holistic approach to how you think the city should develop. And I think fourth, what I see, it's a very action-oriented organization. You not only plan, but you focus on action. And earlier, I had a chance to meet your executive director, Q, or triple Q, I guess. Yeah, right there. Yeah, so very action-oriented person, which I think really helps drive an organization. So congratulations to Oro Chamber. Now I noticed one of your areas of your big projects that you completed, one of them happened to be on transport policy, and you held some sort of a transport summit. So actually it's perfect because our last speaker will focus on transport and in particular on mobility. Now, there are a lot of, at Livable Cities, we're kind of an excitable group of people. There are a few topics which get us really excited, and one of them happens to be mobility and electric vehicles, because we think that's a future direction for the Philippines. And I think that when we talk about modernization program, in our view, instead of leaping from one fuel to another, like gas to diesel or diesel to Eurodiesel, we think sometimes we should make more of a bigger leap from traditional fuels to electric vehicles. We think that it's going to be more beneficial to people and more beneficial to the environment. So we are honored to have with us today someone from AC Mobility, who we have been working with just recently on exploring EVs, many types of EVs. So let me please welcome Yvonne Palomar Castro to speak about mobility and EVs. Yvonne?
Hi, maayong hapon sa atong tanan. It's my first time here in CDO, so I'm glad to be here with you all this afternoon. And before Amy starts counting how many men versus women in the room, then I can give you something much better. There are 5 women speakers versus 1 man. So there you are. It doesn't matter. The rest doesn't matter. So let me start briefly. I'm Yvonne Castro. I'm from AC Mobility, but I've been in the transportation and the vehicle industry for the last, 17 years. And so, as I've often told a lot of people, I'm just happy to be still here standing and continuing the advocacy when there was no one else understood what is an EV. Now all of us are talking about it. So I'm grateful in this opportunity to be here at CDO today to share more about what I've learned for the past 17 years in 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, so in AC Mobility, we strive to be the mobility provider for all by 2030. So that means, again, I will be using Amy's keyword, inclusive, because there's the dream to be inclusive for all in terms of having the opportunity for all to enjoy that very limited mobility space that we're all into. So that's what AC Mobility is. We strive towards that goal of creating really a mobility space that's inclusive for all Filipinos. Okay, so again, a lot of, whenever I talk briefly about mobility space and the electric vehicle industry in general, a lot of people are surprised that, yes, there is already an enabling law that dictates not just from the private sector to shift into clean mobility, but is actually guided by an enabling law that was signed in 2022, and that is the Electric Vehicle Industry Development Act, which is like the cornerstone of everything that we do, and it mandates, and there are certain mandates that needs to be followed, okay? So one of those that's rarely highlighted is the mandate for fleet conversion, both in the public transport space and for the fleet owned by the government, especially by LGU. So, okay, so for the LGU, there's a target there. It's very clear. This is the roadmap for under the law. We have the comprehensive roadmap, and then it is the roadmap towards a clean and green sustainable transport by 2040. So dun siya nagmamatch dun sa up to 2040 development plan ng NEDA. Okay, so yun yung baseline nitong ating industry development plan for electric vehicles. So it states here that under the law, the minimum compliance on the short term will be 10%. Short term is until 2027. So the government needs to change 10% of their owned fleet, and all the public transport and private fleet must also shift the minimum of 5%, and leading into the clean energy scenario, which is 50% by 2040. What does this mean? If I have a transport cooperative, and then I have like 50 jeepneys under my transport cooperative, then I must have at least 10% of that converted now into electric vehicle. Not Euro 4, not any other, but it should be pure electric vehicle. So that's the minimum guideline. And I think a lot even our friends in the government are missing this key mandate under the law. Okay, so I think just a little bit step back on this. So where does this come from? The EVIDA was anchored on the Paris Agreement that the Philippine government signed, meaning that we must reduce under this agreement 70% of our greenhouse gases emission. And a substantial chunk of the GHG is from land transportation. So that's why, aside from the land transportation, we have also a high GHG emission from agriculture, but we have a very limited, in terms of control over that, because we're really an agricultural country. And so the government decided that we must do something with the public transportation space. We must shift into a cleaner emitting public transportation. And that is, when we look at it, what's the current rate that we have in terms of volume? So we have 220,000 plus registered jeepneys. We have around 70,000 plus registered buses. And then we have more than 2.5 million tricycles. So that's the data that we have. And that's why the government is also very keen on modernizing. And then there's a lot of noise things going on with the modernizing. But I think it will push through, and a substantial 70% already of our jeepney operators, I heard, are already consolidated. And with some of these public transport operators are really proactive, as Bill mentioned, of just skipping, the regular diesel and go directly into electric. And that's what we are hoping for. I will just show you also, because under the law, there's also the mandate, for all buildings, structures, malls, government properties, as long as you have like 20 parking slots, then you must have one with an electric vehicle charging stations. And for all new build, this is mandatory under the law, for all new build. And then it can be also be retroactive. But of course, there's a lot of still of consideration in retrofitting EVCS in already old buildings. So there's, but for the new build, it is mandatory. And of course, the key is integrating electric vehicles into government-owned fleet and also on public transportation fleet. In this picture I'm showing you here, these are sample of electric jeepneys in Bacolod City. So they have a fleet of electric jeepney. The mayor, I think, is hosting also like manufacturing there. But, you know, this is not unique nor this is new. In 2010, we already have a route of electric jeepneys moving around Makati City. So again, I'm banking on the government's strong push. So you might, you know, you have a questions like, suddenly I heard yesterday while having dinner that BYD vehicle came into the restaurant, and I heard the waiters, you know, they were talking like, oh, it's a BYD car. I heard, you know, they're getting free charging from SM, and so there's always a full parking. They need a lot more. So in my mind, you know, if the waiters in a restaurant are already having this conversation and a bit of knowledge of, you know, the beauty and the economy of driving an electric vehicle, then I think the city must be doing something right, or BYD lead dealer here is doing something very good. By the way, I would like also to acknowledge our BYD dealer CEO is here, and she's very young, but she's very eager to learn about what we are doing with the government and private sectors. So here, I'm going to show you some data that AC Mobility had with AAP. You can see here, this is a one-on-one comparison in terms of saving efficiency or BYD Atto 3 versus the Corolla Cross G Gas. That's a 71% savings. Can you imagine that? So I think from this alone, but this is a passenger car vehicles, no? But it is the same. The technology is the same. It is almost equal amount of savings when you use this same data into the public transportation space. And on the right side of the screen, you will see actually this data came from the DOE website. DOE is the one who is mandating us and regulating the entire EV industry. So currently, we have 185 establishments with charging stations and 161 charging stations nationwide. And the number will continue to grow as we move forward up until 2027 because that's a short-term plan of the Department of Energy, and we're hoping it will be tens of thousands by then. Okay, so the question is, how do we prove Cagayan de Oro? CDO can do smart and sustainable city program. I had a very engaging conversation earlier with Ma'am Ava and our city planners and some private sector here in the city, and they're very, very proactive. They're very excited about the technology, and I think in my mind is that it's something that maybe CDO can really leap forward in terms of adoption on the electric vehicle front. And how do we do this? Between the private partnership and the government, and of course the support from USAID and other agencies. One is we must focus on low carbon mobility. A city that is focused on low carbon mobility is doing it by supporting zero emission transport modality. So that is inclusive mobility for all. So we're not just talking about, mobility with motors, but we must be inclusive. So we must take a look on how we plan properly so that everyone has a space in the modality that the city will be adapting. Second, public transport electrification by prioritizing green routes in PLTRP. I know that CDO is very proud. They're one of the first cities, I think, with LPTRP approved plan, and that's very commendable. There's only less than 20% of the total cities in the country with an approved LPTRP plan. But as I've discussed earlier with Ma'am Ava, I think we need to study more about it and how we can incorporate green routes. Green routes are very special in terms that they can only be utilized by electric vehicles, public electric vehicles. So these are special lanes, and they are actually prioritized lanes in terms of getting new franchise from the DOTR and from our franchising, land franchising board. So that's one of the things that I'm talking to Ma'am Ava and our city planners, that maybe, we can explore how we can be more inclusive by doing and studying more about adding the green routes into the LPTRP of the city, ma'am. Okay, and of course, we have to have integrated EV charging hubs by incorporating in buildings and city urban plannings. This is already mandated. And why is it necessary? We still, even me, I still have range anxiety. But after some time, I perfected already, like my mode of traveling by, with only charging once every 10 days, But if we will be using electric vehicles for public transport, it is very critical that we will have the right infrastructure. And that's where AC Mobility can help in the city's planning of how we can create that infrastructure that will make your city ready for mass deployment of electric vehicles, not just in the passenger or in the private space, but mostly for the public transport sector. So I think with these three guides, low carbon mobility, public transport electrification, integrated EV charging hubs, CDO can have a smart, green, and sustainable public transportation. Maraming salamat po, and good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you, Yvonne. I don't know if you know, Amy's got to go? Okay. Amy's got to catch her flight, so thank you very much. Thanks, Amy. Yeah. Thank you, Yvonne, on the presentation on EVs. EVs are coming into wider use, and so I just wanted to make some examples. First of all, I understand, I just learned that there are some EVs in use here in Cagayan de Oro. You've got a point-to-point shuttle bus service that's being run by A. Brown and GET, which is Go Electric Transport. If I'm not mistaken, if they're using the same models that have been in use in Manila, Cebu, and Iloilo, those would be Comet. So it's Comet Electric Bus. we've ridden them and they're very comfortable. Another example would be in Boracay, all the tricycles have moved from noisy two-stroke engines to much more quiet, cleaner electric motorcycles. And that, incidentally, was Yvonne's project once upon a time, probably before people even really had a good appreciation of what EVs were. Okay? And today in Metro Manila, more and more vehicles, not only point-to-point buses, passenger vehicles, but there are also now commercial delivery trucks moving product using full EV trucks. So IKEA handles a lot of deliveries. They require it must be delivered on EV. So slowly they're moving to an all EV fleet for their third-party provider. Nestle is also doing the same for its deliveries from warehouses to supermarkets. And Starbucks is also doing the same for delivery from its central warehouse to Starbucks outlets, at least starting in Metro Manila. So I think this is the trend and it's going to continue. At this stage, I'd like to invite all our speakers to come back on stage, and we'll have a short open forum and Q&A. I already have received a lot of questions on my phone from our Zoom audience, and you'll see 2 microphones, so you'll get a chance to ask questions here. So let me invite Evelyn, Chedilyn, Mr. Uy, and Yvonne to join me on stage for the Q&A. And I think, as Yvonne said, women outnumber the men. So we should have a photograph and send this to Amy. Okay, thank you. So as I mentioned, we are going to open up the floor to questions. And we have 2 microphones on the floor. So please feel free to come up and ask questions from our speakers. And I will also be able to field some questions on my phone from our Zoom and Facebook audience. So would anyone like to ask the first question? Nobody wants to try a question? Okay, I'll try the first question. Okay. Okay, let's go first with Chedilyn. I think this question is best for you. It says here, thank you for the initiatives on making the city more walkable. However, from the urban planning and development perspective, what plans do you have to address the rise of vehicles in the city? Traffic and limited public spaces are both heightened because of this. So this is really a traffic question. How do we make it walkable when you have a number of car sales going up?
Thank you. I think Evelyn would like to add later, no, but
Okay,
I'd like
Evelyn
to
would like
start
to-
with
okay, go ahead.
our initiative for making the city walkable is intentional. By making it intentional, you designate a space wherein that area is only for active mobility. So we will be doing that. We are in the process of doing that for Project Lunhao, which is located in Divisoria. So there are already developments being made. There will be developments that will take place in the next few months, and the end goal would be to make the area walkable. So that is intentional because we have designated that. And I think being intentional in providing for this space is very important so that it doesn't get appropriated or allocated for other purposes. So that's what we are doing right now. And we recognize the rising numbers of vehicles in the city. But by making this initiative, we are really allocating the space for people because we want people to be first, especially our pedestrians, to come first.
Thank you. Evelyn, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I would like to add to that. In the Transport Master Plan for Cagayan de Oro City, the first strategy is the promotion of active transportation. So we have a plan and we have laid out bike lanes along the city, walkways, and of course the facilities that goes with it. For example, we're looking at the connectivity of the bike lane from Puntod area, Makabalan, along the dike, going to, I don't know, you're not familiar, going to Makasandig, and also from the Lunhao area, it crosses at the Duao, in which Duao Bridge. We are proposing to have a specific bridge for bikes, so that would be parallel to the existing Cagayan de Oro Bridge or Salina Bridge. Then it goes up to the Lumbia area, Kanituan and Bagatbat area. So it's already in the Transport Master Plan. Then of course, the second strategy is the modernization, the public transportation modernization, which we have done already in a way in which we did the Transport Master Plan. At the same time, we completed the LPTRP, the Local Public Transport Route Plan. So with that development, that would really encourage those private vehicle riders to move into, to shift into public transport. But right now, there are only a few fleets going around. And at the same time, it's sad to say that it's not really implemented the way it is planned, in such a way that the fleet should be like moving from the terminus at certain stops, and also leaving the terminus like 15 minutes interval, depending on the volume of traffic. I have really looked into that, how many numbers of jeepneys that must originate from Lumbia, and with that also how many minutes they're going to be like leaving the terminal. Unfortunately, we don't have those terminals yet. Hopefully, USAID could help the city with that, because we're envisioning terminals from Lumbia to another terminal from Bugo, and also in the Bulwa area. So I think the third strategy is for private transportation to do ride sharing, and of course companies should also implement ride sharing to their employees. And of course, the fourth one is, it's not only the transportation of people that's making our cities congested, but also the movement of goods. So that's supposed to be the next study that we are going to do. Actually, we have already started logistics initiative with DTI, and hopefully we could roll that into really a logistics plan for Metro Cagayan de Misamis.
Thank you. I have two more questions on mobility. Okay, I have more actually, but two more for the two of you. One question is, what is the plan to manage the lack of parking spaces in the city? Most streets are congested because of double parking. And the other question is, how can you make the city more walkable, especially in uptown and off-center parts of the city? At the moment, sidewalks in these areas do not exist. So one is crowded parking, and on the other side, it's not enough sidewalk. What are the plans for that?
Okay. If I could start
Or is that
answering.
intentional?
No,
No parking.
actually, for the city, we have proposed a PPP project for parking spaces. Hopefully, that would come into fruition. Then, unfortunately, we don't really have sidewalks in the outer barangays or the outer CBD areas, like from the bridge going to uptown in Upper Balulang. So I think the city should invest into that. There was a movement of like reclaiming the sidewalks already. Hopefully it's still ongoing. And it's not only reclaiming the sidewalks, but also reconstructing the sidewalk to make it level at the same time, the same width all over. It's part of one of the recommendation of the Transport Master Plan.
Thanks.
Another initiative would be part of our comprehensive land use plan is that we have identified areas of transit-oriented development. So when you say transit-oriented development, this means that we promote walkability, bike lanes, and I also encourage people to leave their cars at home because the transit point would be more or less walkable within 5 to 10 minutes from their respective residences. So we have already identified these TODs in various parts of our development areas that I presented this morning. So we are already in talks with some of the developers that their areas were also identified as TODs. And we just finished talking with one of the developers yesterday. They were more or less agreeable in principle with what we were proposing, that to make part of their development transit-oriented. So that really promotes walkability. So even if we do lack the infrastructure or in the provision of the infrastructure for walking in the identified, for example, the one you mentioned earlier in the bridge. But we will try to provide for that in future developments also.
Yvonne, I have a couple of questions for you. This is coming from the Zoom questions, actually. One is, okay, two questions. How can Philippine businesses, especially MSMEs, participate in the growing EV industry? So how to be part of the ecosystem, that's one. But then the other question is the flip side. What measures are being taken to make EVs more affordable for middle and low-class Filipinos who are either operators or actual drivers of PUVs? Okay, so one is, how do we participate in the industry? Second is, how can I afford one?
Okay.
So I'll first answer the first one now. So how can they participate? Meaning there's an open opportunity for now, I think, in the space because it's a growing industry. The government is trying to find ways into incentivizing manufacturing of the different kind of modality. That's one. Second is in the growing space of the infrastructure build. So meaning, for example, charging station, that is necessary. For those who are entrepreneurial, there are opportunities for you to go into that. Though right now it is very highly regulated because DOE wouldn't want us just to sell energy easily without them tracking or understanding the usage of it. That's where AC Mobility can come in and help assist those who would want, to understand more how to make business or be part of the industry in the field of infrastructure development. So, we need a lot more of this entrepreneurial mindset to be partners with. And yes, there is a space for everyone right now, Bill. And the second question is how can they transition their public jeepneys into e-jeepney? Okay, that's an easy one. I have the right answer to that. Very, very on-the-spot answer. Because for one, okay, the price point of all of these, for example, why is there suddenly like a lot of EV brands? From the passenger side, the Philippine government first issued, the president issued an EO12 in 2023, wherein it gave a zero tariff incentives for all electric vehicles, four-wheels electric vehicles that are coming into the country. So that's why suddenly the price point of all of these brands, even Kia, BYD, suddenly dropped substantially. And that can be compared already. They're premium, features, but now can compare into like an average price point for an ICE. So that's one. And it's very affordable. I think tomorrow we will be releasing, BYD will be releasing a model that's below 1 million. That's a pure electric vehicle. So 3 years ago, you wouldn't think that you can have a pure electric vehicle that is below 1 million. Now it will be available for everyone. So on the public transport space, I remember many years ago, the price parity is like times 3 compared to a diesel engine jeepneys. But now, I'm happy to say that it's on parity. If a jeepney operator would buy a Euro 4, it's around 2.6, 2.8 million. Right now, there are electric jeepney vehicles which are also at the same price point. So the capex now is the same, but the savings in terms of fuel efficiency and the after sales and the maintenance, it can be huge. So I think, for the modernization program, they should totally skip the Euro 4 because it's a 10-year-old technology. The global standard now is Euro 6. So why should we do that, And plus, the capex is the same. Again, you will get more from the value of your money if you go electric jeepney right now.
Yvonne, what's the comparison between, which is cheaper to maintain? EV
Electric.
or electric?
Very
versus
less moving
conventional?
parts, yes. No change oil, no transmission oil chains. There is no spark plugs, whatever. So, for example, for passenger car, we only recommend like a maximum of 2 times a year go to the dealer. But what they do is just really actually balance the battery and check all the computers and everything but some of the more than a year-old owners of EVs, they're saying for 1 year they only went to the casa once, less than 3,000 they spent for an entire year of after-sales service. So that's a huge savings.
Okay, that's a huge savings then. Thank you. Mr. Uy, there's a question here for the Filipino-Chinese Chamber asking, what projects have you done with the Cagayan de Oro LGU, with the city government? What projects has your chamber done?
Actually, there is no particular, we can say, project, no? Because we always collaborate, we always in partnership with the Oro Chamber. However, the Filipino-Chinese Chamber is also part, no, of the city government, like the local, we are also a member of the local investment board. Some participating in the investment promotion of the city. No? There is no particular project that I can say, no? But we are always in collaboration, partnership with the city government in terms of how to attract investors, how to help government in paying proper taxes. That is our campaign, no, to our Filipino-Chinese business community. That's what I can say. There's no particular project.
Thank you, thank you. But that's a very important point that you make, no? Which is, of course, to be very supportive of the LGU at all times, Mr. Uy. So thank you very much for that. I have another question here. There's so many questions on transport, but let me take a question from the floor. Kindly introduce yourself and to whom you'd like to ask the question.
Hi, my name is David Rimple. I'm an American. I've actually just moved here to Cagayan about 4 months ago. And I have to say that it is an absolutely wonderful city, and the city of Golden Friendship is absolutely true. The people are wonderful, the city is wonderful, and I want to thank you all for embracing me. My question for the panel is concerning the walkability. Is there any plan to have something along the lines of a central park? Not the parks like we have now, not, MacArthur Park or any of the concrete-laden parks, but something with like grass and trees and maybe a pond that is in the city so people don't have to go all the way outside to enjoy it. Also, a quick comment on the EV aspect. I actually was involved with promoting EVs back in the United States. And one of the things that I would like to say is that probably the best part about EVs is the cost of the batteries. Most people don't realize that EV battery costs have dropped about 75% in the last 5 years. You certainly can't say that about gasoline. Thank you for fielding my questions.
Thank you. Okay, the question is, how about a park, a real park? So by park, I think you're defining it as a park with like real grass, not concrete.
Basically, if you can imagine Central Park in New York,
exactly.
Imagine something like that, on a smaller scale, obviously, but here in Cagayan de Oro. Okay. Wouldn't that be a fantastic...
Okay, got space for a park? Any plans to build a park?
Under Project Lunhao, we have identified a lot of areas, but this is not Central Park scale. I'm sorry to say that. But there will be a lot of open spaces with real grass, but with paved areas for bikes, so that people, so that we can really push people to, do active mobility and encourage them to use bikes. But the rest of the areas are already planned to be developed with, real grass. So the areas riverside of our flood controls will be included in this project. So we are looking at their completion in the next maybe 3-4 years.
Thank you. Okay, Go ahead, and I just wanted to add that actually you have a great asset here in the river, and if I take a look at the example of what Iloilo did with its river, where they made the promenade on both sides, and suddenly that became a very active park for Iloilo City, and they really benefited from it. Yes, please, your name and your question. Sorry about that.
Hello, hello.
Yep.
Okay. My name is Ramel, and I'm from Bukidnon. And my question is, how can are your
Can we have a microphone over there, please?
Okay, sorry. Are your projects going to foster social equity in Cagayan de Oro, and or are they going to intensify the gap between the rich and the poor, or polarize the rich and the poor? And what are your plans for informal economies and informal settlers?
Thank you. Who would like to answer that question?
I think I made the presentation on the RISE agenda already earlier, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think my presentation already covered that. We started with the family and the individual Cagayanon at the core, addressing economic concerns, and then on the outer layers, social protection and safety, and then institutional development, capacitating people who are going to support the social, both social and economic. And then lastly, on the outer layer would be metropolization and regionalization.
Yes, I'm actually referring to informal economies and informal settlers. Like, they have less advanced transportation, and so if you are going to introduce modern transportation, where will they get their living or something like tricycles or?
Introducing modern transportation does not really exclude the marginalized. I think you have to look at it in a way that the modernization of transportation would not really, in a way, increase the fare. I think you have noticed we do have modern transportation plying along the thoroughfares of Cagayan de Oro City. These modern jeepneys are collecting the same fare as with the traditional jeepneys. So I think that would not, in a way, affect the marginalized. In terms of work, it's still the same. It's manned by drivers. And in reality, it's better in a sense that the PUV modernization is supposed to give monthly salaries plus incentives and all the benefits. No longer the boundary. Okay, if it were the boundary system, I think there are days that you won't be able to meet your boundary fees. So this is actually better than the traditional system that we have. And in terms of, like here in Cagayan de Oro City, we do have the motorellas. We don't want to do away drastically with the motorellas. They have to become in-facilities. When I say in-facilities, I think originally we have how many? 5 color codings for Cagayan de Oro City. The yellow would be limited only to one sector, one area, not crossing the highway actually, because across is the red, then another one, the blue and the green. So I think it will not marginalize the Motorella drivers, because you could still get what they call passengers from your sector. But you know what I've noticed? I think you are like, the Motorellas are scrambling for passengers because they don't follow rules. They are, in fact, I would say, the jeepney is supposed to be the king of the road. I think it's the Motorella, because they are like, they don't have rules, you know? They could go anywhere, like a taxi, or even more than a taxi, door to door, what they call this service that they are having. So it will become an in-facility, and at the same time, this CCAD also, we have CCAD, is very informal, and I think with the good sidewalks, roads that we are going to have, slowly I think the CCAD will, in a way, die on its own, as long as we give the proper facilities for the people of Cagayan de Oro City.
Thank you. I think you answered my question.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a question? Yes, please.
Yes, I'm Denise Lagrosa. I'm an environmental planner and member of the Philippine Institute of Environmental Planners. So my husband is Romel. He's from Bukidnon. And we are considering if we can explore in working or living as a family here. So we have several questions. First is, you mentioned that there will be a transport-oriented development from Manolo Fortich to Cagayan de Oro. Can you elaborate on this? Will this be in the form of a train? Is it underground or on ground or elevated train like in Manila? Or is it a sky cable like the one that was being played earlier? Or will there be a designated fleet and terminal to and from Manolo Fortich? Will there be a public consultation or environmental impact study for that? Number 2, addressed to Madam, is there a study to measure the effectiveness of electric vehicles to decrease the city temperature or clean the quality of air in Cagayan de Oro City, since it is very observable that from Bukidnon, only 1 hour travel distance, the temperature rises or drops dramatically, or that the city becomes dusty dramatically. So will there be a study to measure the effectiveness? And then the third, it seems that the CDO have a progressive development by 2040. Does this mean that the basic education will strengthen its STEM program, science, technology, engineering, math, to meet the demands of the labor force to make this vision of a progressive city happen? This is in light of how I will prepare my daughter on which career to consider to meet the demands of the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I think your daughter is our youngest participant today. Thank you. Thank you for that. So I like how you're starting so early in preparing your daughter by listening to us. So, okay, let's take we have 3 questions. Go ahead.
Bill, I'd like to start answering the third question. We have recently, the City of Cagayan de Oro recently created the Department of Education and Department of Education and Development. This is the local department. One of its primary tasks is to implement the scholarship program here in the city, but at the same time to also improve the educational environment, linking with the industry, which is a very important factor. By closely working with the industry, we are able to identify what skills are actually needed by the industry so that these are also transmitted to the educational institutions by this department. so that these educational institutions can also provide for courses that will be responsive to the needs of the industry. So that is the direction that this administration is going to take in the long term. And to show proof that it is serious in implementing or prioritizing education, this department was created. So not only to just implement the scholarships program, which by the way is huge, because at the moment we are already catering to and administering to 15,000 scholars. So that really just shows that education is really important, and you can be rest assured that when your daughter grows up and gets to choose her interest or what industry she would be interested in, by the time these courses would have been available in our schools here in the city.
Thanks. What about the first question about the transportation link between Manolo Fortich and CDO?
I will answer.
Above ground, below ground?
I think
At grade.
I think you were referring to the report of NEDA, the one presented by NEDA online. So I think the term is transit-oriented development. When you say transit-oriented development, it's like urban spaces that you are going to develop, bringing people, activities, the public, the buildings in one area in such a way that the mode of transportation is walk or bike. It's more of an active transportation. So what NEDA was trying to say is that they're going to develop areas in the different municipalities into transit-oriented development, meaning to say they're going to build houses, like subdivisions with establishments, houses, then schools within a radius where people can walk and bike. So I think that's what NEDA was trying to tell us.
Okay, thank you. And Yvonne, the question on EVs. Any proof
on the
between
proof, yes.
EVs and climate?
Yes. First, I would like to commend you for bringing your daughter. It reminds me how I used to, bring my daughter around whenever I do my work as really an advocate for the environment. And that's why my daughter is currently, we call her the basurera in the family, but she's now into waste segregation. So, yeah, and I completely understand where you're from. You need to future-proof your daughters in terms of the world that we're living in. So that is a very broad question. But to be honest with you, there's no data yet for the Philippines because we have not enough electric vehicles running on the road to give us that conclusive data. But yes, it's in part of the roadmap of the government, wherein the data that's really is very, very critical. So for example, for us in the AC mobility space, as we are developing the charging stations, each of these charging stations, we have some information that we're getting that for how much in terms of GHG reduction we are saving for each of the X number of hours that we are serving the public. So ultimately, we will have the right data for you, but on a global context, I think in some more advanced countries in terms of adaptation, like Norway or in Amsterdam or European countries, we can get enough data. But of course, it will not be applicable for our case here in the Philippines.
Thank you. We have so many questions. Not enough time, so I'm going to just send the questions directly to our panelists. But please join me, first of all, in thanking our panelists today. Yvonne, Chedilyn, Evelyn, and Mr. Uy. So he's outnumbered today, but not outgunned, And Amy would be happy to see this photograph here of so many women speakers, I think, versus Mr. Uy here. So please join me in thanking them for their participation today. I'd also like to just, in closing, maybe a couple of reminders. One is that we run these labs regularly. So today is a local lab, which is specific to Cagayan de Oro, but we also run regular labs in Manila, and these labs focus on specific topics. So 2 weeks ago, our topic was on flood resilience. It actually featured the speaker from Cagayan de Oro to tell us about what measures CDO had taken against floods, especially after the experience of Sendong many years ago. Our next event is going to be October 9th, and that's going to focus on food security and malnutrition. So we've brought together, again, speakers to talk about how they are addressing food security and malnutrition issues. And of course, I don't know if you're aware that 30% of our children are facing malnourishment in some form. And the worst form is stuntedness, because when you have stunting, generally you are also affecting the ability to learn and cognitive skills. No? So if you're stunted, you cannot, you will not lead a very productive life. And that's irreversible, by the way, by age 5. So it is important to address malnutrition at an early age. So that's October 9th. November 20th, if you are also into EVs, please join us. We're going to have more EVs. We're going to talk about not only passenger cars, but commercial vehicles and buses, okay? Fleet transfers. So that's going to come up on November 20th. So if you're interested, we will be posting the links, and you can, if you're in Manila, you're welcome to join us. But if you're here in CDO or in Bukidnon, you can definitely just watch us over Zoom or over Facebook Live. Finally, I think we will flash a QR code here and a QR code on the Zoom and Facebook accounts. This is our feedback form. We appreciate the feedback you give us. It will allow us to plan better and to execute better for future labs. And finally, let me just go back to something we discussed this morning when we had a small session with the city councilors and some of the city hall staff with some private sector. We talked about the attitude of a winner and how, if you want to create a winning environment, you've got to have this attitude. And it's an attitude that we see in sports and in all other competitive endeavors where people who want to be the best absolutely think this way. And so the first thing is to imagine the future you want. Okay? That's the first thing. You have to imagine what you want for Cagayan de Oro City. It starts with that imagination and that visualization of what you want. So I think we saw some examples here earlier. Cable cars and all sorts. By the way, this is the first city I've seen actually plan cable cars. I've never seen any other city have the guts to even think about it. So that's really out of the box thinking. But it starts with imagination. And the second is belief. You have to believe you can get it done. All the best athletes in the world, they imagine and they believe that they can get things done against all odds. And it's really a very action-oriented approach. So let me leave you with that, because I think if you want to create a winning environment, a livable city that is going to be competitive, sustainable, resilient, and a city that people will want to live in, to visit, to invest in, to study in. You got to have this winning attitude, and it starts really with imagining your future and believing and working to make it happen. So on behalf of Livable Cities, USAID, our partners Globe, the League of Cities, Geodata, we had Samsung here today. Who else did we have? AC Mobility and others. Thank you for joining us. We hope you learned. I know we learned a lot of things about CDO. We hope you learned about a lot of things about what else to do to improve your city. And we look forward to seeing you in some of our future programs. Thank you very much. And with that, I'll also invite you. We have merienda. So we're happy to serve everybody some merienda before you all go home. Thank you very much.
I request everyone to, or our audience to line up here para photo taking and kista mag-merienda. Dito po muna tayo lahat for our group photo to remember our local lab here in CDO. Dito po, audience. Dali, tara na po. Squeeze in, please. We can have like a few more lines. And ang uban daw, mga laki siguro, compress pa daw rin sa kilid. Kuha daw po sa cellphone. One, two, three. We love CDO! Gutom man, Bod. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Mayenda po.